This week we are coming out with 3 interesting webinars. The first webinar is Wealth Creation Secrets Your Bank Isn't Telling You. Here we discuss our multi-asset PMS product Neo, which is specifically designed for NRS. And the second webinar is Still Not Seeing Returns. The real problem is in the market. Here we discuss on how to approach the current market. And the third webinar is Large Cap Comfort versus Mid and Small Cap for Growth. Where should you invest in 2026 and 2027? Here we discuss about large cap sector as well as small and mid cap. To join the above webinars, click the link in the bio and description.
After a decade of working in the space of mutual funds, after spending 5 years in the RIA space, I was taking stock of what we had accomplished. After all, any professional task needs soul searching, definition of purpose, reconfiguration of the model, and reinvention of the experience of the end customer. Only then that professional work will have relevance to society and make the desired impact. As I took stock of our work, I realized one thing. We had worked with far too less people when compared with the quality of experience that we had delivered. One thing which we were clear about was our work was 100% pro-investor. Unlike the external system and its ways, unlike how the institutional approach to retail by the banks was functioning, we ran a process where the investor could be 100% sure that anything that we recommended to him was absolutely in his interest. In that sense, we were 100% pro-investor. But what I realized was the constituency of investors I was serving did not give adequate importance or respect to this critical aspect. It is one thing to complain about how they were missold something. It is one thing to abuse missellers. But when you recognize what is wrong, it is equally your responsibility to respect what is right and recognize it. I found that that was not happening. I could see many conversations which I personally had with investors not being purposeful or meaningful. I am not talking about those conversations being meaningful to me. I am talking about those conversations being meaningful to that investor. People were so unfocused, unclear, and not showing enough cognizance of what they needed to do and appreciate. That was when I felt that I was limiting myself to a constituency which is small and wrong. At that point, I decided that I will not continue the advisory approach. There was another reason for that. That even an experienced investor like me, with reasonable competency in investing and commitment to being pro-investor, was giving advice to somebody, that person was taking inputs from sources which were random and trying to second guess our investments, second guess our suggestions, and not even do what was in his interest. People were not implementing advice. That was a far bigger pain point for me, because an RIA's job is a specialized job where you are doing all the work and going and giving it to somebody, and that person does not utilize that. Later, the person takes his investment sheet and feels that he has not won enough in the market. He has not earned enough. But when advice is given to you and you are going to accept that advice and execute it, if you don't take that advice and execute it, how can you earn the right to win? This is a simple question. But I realized that I could not go and ask this to people, because it is not a pleasant way to deal with people. That left me with only one option, and that is stop giving advice to people who don't value that advice enough or respect the advisor adequately. When I took stock of my work at the end of that experience, I was clear that if at all I did professional work, I should work with people who will respect what I tell them, who will trust that I will always be 100% pro investor, and who will execute. These are the three things. If I got these three things from the investor, then I was assured of impact. I could not sleep for several days trying to figure out how I could get these three things, because clearly, in my opinion, the RIA model did not achieve what it should have achieved, and it was definitely falling short of what our efforts should have brought out, and its impact was really not what I would have found to be respectable. That's when I realized that I could actually deliver the same experience to 100 or 1,000 times the number of customers or investors whom I had worked with, in a much simpler way, through a much simpler model. And guess what? I could progressively make the cost of that cheaper for the investor. I did my math and I realized that I could deliver a far superior experience to a much wider catchment of investors, much wider community, at a progressively cheaper cost and delivering greater value. And then I wrote my concept in one page. I kept refining that page, and that one page concept was milestones to wealth. After a week, I decided that I will create a purpose driven platform, very different from what was in the market, for a very different community. This community was doing mediocre things on platforms, not showing the right behavior that would make them win in their investing, but trying really hard. Imagine such a vast community of hard-working people who work hard, who live with the right values, who save well, who are ready to invest a significant part of their wealth not getting the right hand holding, and not ending up with the right results. This was the community that I wanted to serve, and the concept of milestones to wealth was born to serve this community. I set myself a very simple target first, that I will reach 10,000 customers. Having done barely 300 to 400 customers in a decade, I set myself a very extended target of 5 years to reach that 10,000 customer target. Obviously, it was like a student who is very well prepared for his exam in math, setting 60% as his score target. I was playing far below what was a fair target. Within 6 months, I realized that wanting to reach 10,000 is not impact. I needed a very strong anchoring for creating impact. And I set a target that I would take 1 lakh middle class investors to 1 crore of financial wealth in their mutual fund portfolio. I publicly made that statement that I wish to do this, to hold myself to that commitment every single day, every single working hour. The way in which Milestones to Wealth has been curated was another very interesting journey. The 6 milestones fell in place in 5 minutes. As we kept working along, we have been adding layer after layer after layer of education, conviction building, behavioral alignment, and process. All this is translating into superior delivery for the close to 9,000 people who are on Milestones to Wealth. Soon we will cross that 10,000 target, which I first naively set myself. But now we are going for the much bigger target of 1 lakh investors. These targets are not so important from a business point of view, but they are very, very critical from an impact point of view. Interestingly, unlike the existing financial system, which is using technology to ruin investor behavior or to make investors poorer in their behavior and poorer by their behavior, Milestones to Wealth pledges to use technology to constantly improve the investor's behavior every single day. This is something I failed to do as a RIA, and I say this publicly. Sometimes you must be plain, frank, and honest. But here I am able to do much better because we are using every available method to make an impact in the lives of a very large number of people, and by improving the size of the sample very fast and delivering whatever it takes to create all these changes in an investor, we are sure that our impact will grow multifold. In fact, I would be very, very surprised if we don't achieve that impact far ahead of the timelines which we set for ourselves. Milestones to Wealth is not about me. It is not about how we create something for you. Milestones to Wealth is about you. It's about how you move up in your behavior, in your investing, and in your outcomes. Milestones to Wealth will make you think big, bigger all the time. That will make you keep yourself focused on what you need to do, keep the noise out of your lives, and enjoy investing in a state of mind that would be adequately zen. You will be doing what you need to do for your future, and you will be secure and certain that you are doing the right thing. In my view, that is the most precious element that an investor must have in his investing. What I hope to achieve through Milestones to Wealth is build a community of investors who reach 1 crore of financial wealth sooner than they otherwise would, and think much bigger with confidence and focus. Happy investing.